why don't you, like, say Chicago? I mean, that's where I'm from. It's not very far. Why don't you come up for a show?
We were talking about doing that.
We were talking about doing.
Because I know a lot of bands that look up to your band and want to.
We went up and did a show. What was that, last year, or was that longer ago than that? We played with Cyclone Temple and another band up there, and the Thirsty Whale, and it's like really great. The crowd was great, and it was a good turnout and everything. And it's like, cool. I mean, we played Chicago with DRI, Voivod, a few years back with Voivod and Violence at the Cubby Bear.
Cubby Bear.
The sports place. That was, I mean, it was cool. Every time we've been there, it's like the crowds are really
I've seen you like pretty much, I think, every time, but
you know, we've played 3 or 4 times, and it's like every time.
But why can't you come up there every 4 months or?
Well, we were supposed to do a show. The show you were talking about that we canceled. What happened? I don't remember what happened. We were supposed to come up and play with Aftermath or something.
Or you talking Galactic Cowboys?
No, it was the Overkill show.
Well, see, we were going to do a show though. Remember, we were going to do a show.
What happened? Overkill was not booked to do Chicago for whatever reason, and they ended up throwing it in at the last minute, and it was the way it worked out. We had a show. Okay, it was like Milwaukee, and then we had to go to Denver or something like that. It was like a 1,500-mile drive.
It wasn't quite that. It was like very long drive, and it's like, well, Chicago wasn't even on the tour, and they were going to go do it. If we did it, we wouldn't get paid anything, and it's like when we're on a budget like ours, everything is paid for by the shows you play. I mean, gas money, everything is like very, very tightly budgeted.
And the biggest difference was that they have a bus driver.
You know, we did all the driving ourselves,
sleep, and then drive. We had to drive straight through, and if we would have done the Chicago show, then we'd have had to drive straight through to where we were going. No, that's what it was. It would have been like 1,500 miles from Chicago.
Right, because we had to go down and back up from Chicago.
And there was no way we could have done it. So we had to go around it, which really sucked. I mean, we wanted to play Chicago, especially with Overkill, because they got a pretty good draw there.
Well, I think you guys should just come for a weekend.
Well, you're right. That's something we've been talking about doing.
Lots of stuff with that.
It's kind of hard when either you've got a record to work on, or you've got material to write, or you're going on a tour. It's kind of hard to just like, okay, we're going to do this one show, and then you've got to gear a whole month towards doing a show if it's like a one-off show.
Okay.
Because either you're tied up with getting a tour together and working on material and you can't take time off to go, or you're writing material for the next record and you can't just say, okay, well, let's rehearse the old songs for a month and then go. So it's kind of like it has to be the right timing. So
see, now we've been talking about it recently a lot because you know, we get a lot of letters from Chicago, and I mean, every time we played there, we've had a really good response, and it's really not that far. We can easily just drive up, do a show, drive home, you know. So it's like we've been talking about it lately because we've been rehearsing hard for this release show we've got coming up. So we're like getting the material together, and I was telling Kevin, I'm like, it'd be a great time to do it, you know. The songs will be tight. We could set up a show, you know, in the next month or two, and just get up there and play. There's, you know, a few decent bands up there that want us to come up and do shows with them. You know, it's like, you know, it's with a band the size of what we are, we're always hesitant going out of town and headlining any kind of show. So it's like you never know what kind of response you're going to get. And a lot of times, what happens is you'll have a pretty decent local band that's a decent draw, and then if you play last, they play and they leave, and everybody leaves because they don't know who you are. You know.
You get to edit this. Hey, Dad, we're like doing an interview here, Pops.
Okay, I need to talk to you at some point.
So it's going to be a little while. My dad, the one the camera can went to.
It's like you were saying about the press here. It's like we've always talked about that. It's, you know, I mean, we're pretty much on the level, nice guys with everybody. We don't really screw anybody around. It's like sometimes it's almost like a conspiracy in St. Louis or something. It's like it's almost like you don't ever see our name anywhere. And sometimes you would think it's not like there's 100 bands from this town that are signed or are doing really anything. And you know, you pick up like we have the Riverfront Times. It's like one of the bigger like local paper things, Spotlight, and it's like you once every 6 months you might see something about us. You know, or it'll have like the local like polls for like best bands or you know biggest St. Louis sales. You know, as far as biggest albums, and it's like 3 bands or 4 bands signed from St. Louis, and we somehow don't show up on the top 10 at all. It's like, hello, you know. You know, so I don't really know what it is. You'd have to ask those people. I don't know what, you know.
It's more of a case of it's actually the paper as opposed to the people.
Right, right. I mean, we have a really good following here. We have a lot of loyal fans who really have been at every single show we've probably ever done, you know. and then more new people every time. So it's really cool. But we like to see it. We like to see it build every time. We like to wait a few months and then get 100 more people than last show, or 200 more people than last show. Because when you get 500 people finally, and then like you do another show and there's like 200 people, and you're like, okay, we suck now. You know? So we like to try to like space it out and see it grow over time, and have people think, you know, wait for it or something. Think, well, let's go see the show because they might not play again for a long time.
Have you played like overseas?
No, not yet.
Never have, and really, really need to, because especially since we were originally signed to a European label for the first 2 albums. I mean, we've gotten, you know, fan letters or whatever ever since the first demo tape. And I mean, people, the same people write to us year after year. Are you coming here this year? Are you coming here this year?
Yeah, we're coming.
We're trying to. We got to get a tour. You know, it's like, you know, Germany especially. We hear more and more about it. I mean, just the press over there is really good. Like our manager, Debbie, who was working, she went over with Heathen, she manages Obituary, and she went over there. The last couple of years she's been over here a couple times and says that a lot of people talk about us. It's, you know, sees our name a lot in the press over there and stuff like that. We just can't seem to hook up with a tour to get us over there. You know, I think we might be in for a pleasant surprise if we ever got over there.
Alright.
That's all going to change this year.
Hopefully, we'll say it again, hopefully this time it'll happen.
I mean, so they're saying that there's a scene for the more progressive metals.
Well, I think in Europe, there's probably, from what I hear, there's a scene for everything. I think people are a lot more open-minded, maybe just a lot more hungry for things, because maybe not a lot happening over
Yeah, they don't get a lot of
time.
stuff over there.
Is like, you know, for tours, is Dot Industry still on Metal Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I'm not familiar with them, but a lot of people write to us and say, you guys should tour with them. Or,
yeah, I mean, they're really.
But I haven't
Sort of
heard them, but I hear a lot of people write to us and say really good things about them and stuff. And it's like, you know, a lot of things, you know, a lot of...
You don't have a copy that's on your label?
Yeah, we won't talk
We don't even
about
have
that.
copies of our new record.
Made him FedEx as 4 CDs, and it's like, that's all we've seen. I haven't seen the cassette actually, like, opened up yet, so hopefully it turned out good.